The case before this court is the matter of Forrester versus Forrester. A cause of action involving an interference with an advantageous contractual relationship. The plaintiff, Michael Forrester, previously a member of the rock group Togetherment, has charged his father, Bernard Forrester, with preventing him from attending a recording session. The session resulting in a successful record album. The plaintiff is asking $62,500 in damages and $42,000 punitive damages.
Is counsel for both parties ready?
We are, Your Honor.
We are, Your Honor.
Would either of you gentlemen care to make an opening statement?
I would, Your Honor.
Proceed, Mr. Barrett.
Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you can well imagine, it's not an easy thing done to bring his father into court. Unusual? Perhaps, but not without reason. We intend to show what little regard Bernard Forrester had for his son. The attitudes toward Michael's friends, his restrictive environment at home, Mr. Forrester's constant badgering to succeed on terms Michael couldn't accept. Michael Forrester is an individual and is entitled to his own outlook and goals in life. Mr. Forrester refused to accept this. To some of you, this may seem just another example of the generation gap. Well, that may be. But when Mr. Forrester denied Michael the right to pursue his own chosen career, he went far beyond the responsibility of a parent. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, would you care to address the court?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Barrett's last statement troubles me. He went far beyond his responsibility as a parent. Well, just what is a parent's responsibility, and can he exceed it? And Michael Forrester, we find a bright young man, but he's also at a very impressionable age. Mr. Forrester felt it his duty to exercise some control over Michael's social contacts to keep the boy out of trouble. Mr. Forrester tried to communicate with Mike, but he repeatedly rejected his advice. Michael showed little responsibility at home, and he rarely contributed in any way toward the family. Yet he demanded equal treatment. We feel that Michael was unable to make a decision in anything as important as his future. Thank you.
Plaintiff may call the first witness.
The plaintiff would like to call Mr. Arthur Jackson to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
Would you please state your name and affiliation?
I'm Arthur Jackson, Vice President of Good Star Records, Hollywood, California.
And were you the discoverer of the now successful rock group known as Togetherment?
Yes, sir.
At the time you first saw them perform, was Michael Forrester a member of that group?
Yes, sir.
Is this the contract you had Mike Forrester sign?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to offer this agreement between Michael Forrester and Good Star Music into evidence.
You may enter Plaintiff 1 into evidence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Jackson, did all the members of the group profit from their contractual agreements with Good Star?
All but one.
And who was that?
Mike Forrester.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. No more questions, Your Honor. Your witness, counsel.
Mr. Jackson, Michael Forrester had missed group obligations before, hadn't he?
Sure, everybody missed a couple.
But you didn't drop him from the group.
No.
Was Mike the best performer in the group?
Well, no. Not really.
Well, would the group have been just as successful without Michael Forrester?
Objection, Your Honor. Michael's talent is not the issue before this court.
Objection sustained.
Did your contract allow you to replace a man on short order?
Yes, sir. The group knew that going in.
Well, then, it appears that you had contractual right to replace Mike.
Got nothing to do with it, man. Nothing at all to do with it.
I'll have no such disturbances in my court. Sit down.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Now, Miss Dobbs, you're a member of Togetherman, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
Up until recently, you and Michael were very close, weren't you?
Yes.
Mike confided in you?
Yes, he did.
Did he say Mr. Forrester was hard on you?
I think so.
Such as?
Mr. Forrester always made Mike feel small. He didn't understand or appreciate Mike.
How did he make his feelings known?
He always told Michael that if he didn't shape up, he'd never make it.
What was Mr. Forrester's idea of making it?
Oh, you know, the usual hang-ups. Money, power, possessions.
And did these coincide with Michael's idea of making it?
No way. Mike wanted freedom. He wanted to do something with his life. He wasn't interested in things.
Did Mike hate his father?
No. Actually, I think Mike loves his father. He just never got anything from him.
Thank you, Miss Dobbs. Your witness, counsel.
Isn't it true that you and Mike were more than just close?
What do you mean?
I think you know what I mean. Let me put it this way. Weren't you the cause of Mike staying out till 3 or 4 in the morning?
Objection, Your Honor. I don't see the relevance here.
Objection sustained.
Did you have a curfew? Were you required to be home at any certain hour?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes, I see. Did Mike have a curfew?
Yeah, he usually had to be home by 1.
Well, if you were aware of this curfew, why did you encourage Mike to break it?
Well, I just thought it was time Mike stood up to his old man. I mean, he isn't a kid anymore.
Do you ever stop to think that Mr. Forrester might be pacing the floor, calling hospitals, checking accident reports while waiting for his son to come home? No more questions, Your Honor.
Now, Mrs. Townsend, as the Forrester family housekeeper for many years, you were in a good position to see if a generation gap between Michael and his father existed. Was there such a gap?
I would say so.
How was their communication? Did they talk to one another?
Not often.
Did Mr. Forrester place excessive demands on Mike?
He was hard on him sometimes. But he used to tell us how he had nothing when he was young, and the only way to make it was to be tough on yourself.
Did his father encourage his talent?
Not really. It really would hurt me the way the mister would make fun of Mike and ask him how he was going to support a family.
Thank you, Mrs. Townsend. No further questions, Your Honor.
Did Mike obey his father's wishes?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Certainly you could be a little more specific than that.
Michael was young and full of life. I saw him when he sneaked out and he wasn't supposed to, but he just went like this.
Did Mike have duties around the house, mowing the lawn, taking out the garbage, you know?
Yes.
Well, did he fulfill these obligations? Did he do his share?
Not really.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't really see where this line of questioning is going.
It is our intention, Your Honor, to show that Mike Forrester took everything in his life for granted. And he was just too unreliable to make the
Counselor feel that because Mike didn't take out the garbage, his father has the
Counsel
right...
feels that if Mike didn't act like a man or accept certain responsibilities...
Hold it,
then he does
gentlemen.
deserve
That's
to be-
enough for now. Mr. Jones, do you have any further questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
In that case, I declare a 15-minute recess.
Well, we've got him right where we want him. We'll be able to put him away after we...
Cut it out, Elmer.
If it is what you wanted, isn't it? Teach him a lesson?
I said that's enough. I'm sorry. Where do we go from here?
Well, Barrett will call a couple of more witnesses, and then it'll be our turn to,
How much longer is this going to take? This thing's really getting to me.
Well, we have 3 more witnesses scheduled, and your father will get his chance.
The whole thing's so open. I mean, the questioning of Janet and all.
Any regrets?
Some.
The defense may call its first witness.
The defense will only call one witness, Your Honor. The defense calls the defendant. Bernard Forrester. What is your profession, Mr. Forrester?
I'm a stockbroker.
Oh, and does this take a great deal of time?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, why do you say unfortunately?
I find little time left for the things I enjoy.
Well, your boy has implied that you want to work, and work is the only thing you really care about.
Well, he's wrong.
Well, kindly tell the court what else is important to you.
Among other things, my family, and of course, my son, Michael.
You've been accused by several of Michael's friends of coming between their friendship. If you did you do so knowingly?
Perhaps. As a parent, I had misgivings about some of Mike's friends. I told him I thought it would be a good idea.
Oh, come on, Dad! You locked him out of the house. You wouldn't even let me see him.
Michael, we'll have no more outbursts like that in my courtroom. Counselor, please control your client.
Please continue.
Mike just doesn't understand what being a parent is like. I'm responsible for his safety, for his education, his morals. Your Honor, if Mike gets into trouble, who do you hold responsible?
Mike said that you never took time to listen to him.
Mike always wanted to argue. Whatever position I took, he would always take the opposite. It got so that we could never talk without anything, that there wasn't an argument. As far as Mike was concerned, I hadn't anything to offer.
Well, you've been accused of placing impossible restrictions on Michael.
If I didn't care about him, I wouldn't have placed any restrictions at all. That would have been the easiest thing to do. Today, you see so many parents who don't care where their children are or what they're doing.
Well, regarding Mike's music, do you feel he showed any talent?
Yes, but not enough to base a life on. I wanted Mike to have a good, solid perspective on life before he undertook what I felt was a narrow, terribly risky career.
Thank you, sir. No more questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Forrester, did you ever use material things to control Michael's future?
How do you mean?
Hold back the use of the car? Not let Mike watch TV?
Sure. I wanted him to be the best darned Michael Forrester he could be. I didn't want him to settle for seconds. If that meant I had to restrict him, I did.
Did you make every effort to mold Mike into your own image?
Look, every father wants his son to be like him to some extent. I don't feel I'm any more guilty of that than any parent.
Thank you, Mr. Forrester. No more questions, Your Honor. Mike, do you think your father understood you?
No, not really. I don't think he ever tried.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he never had any time to listen.
Did your father ever praise you at anything or offer you encouragement?
Only in things that he wanted me to do. Never in anything that I wanted to do.
Did you ever discuss meaningful things like politics?
You didn't discuss with him. You listened to him. He's always saying that I was an idealist or that I was naive, that I didn't understand the way things really are.
In your opinion, was he correct?
No. Gotta be blind not to see the way things really are. I just want things different. I'm not ready to live my life like my dad's.
You really think your father's quite a materialist, don't you?
Don't you?
Well, he's provided you with a nice home, car you can drive, television you can watch, closet full of nice clothes.
I didn't ask to be born. My father brought me into this world.
You don't really feel that you owe your father anything, do you?
I don't feel I have a debt to pay, if that's what you mean.
Well, I don't feel that you have a debt to pay in the traditional sense either. But do you ever make an effort to make your father's life just a little bit easier?
How can I when he shuts me out of it?
Well, maybe he feels you don't want to be a part of it. Thank you, Michael. No more questions, Your Honor.
Are you gentlemen prepared to make your closing arguments?
We are, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have shown you the contract with Michael Forrester and Good Star Music. We've also shown proof of loss. Bernard Forrester made every effort to totally dominate his son's life. He chose his friends, doled out privileges. enforced curfews, and offered Michael little or no privacy. But in the end, he committed the most serious act of all. He denied Michael the opportunity to pursue his chosen career. We contend that Bernard Forrester went beyond his obligations as a parent in controlling Michael's life. Now, my client has suffered damages, and we ask he be awarded these damages in full. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we do not contest that a generation gap existed. But as a parent, Bernard Forrester felt that he could guide his son and set an example for him. Apparently, that isn't what Michael wanted. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, was Bernard Forrester guilty of anything other than wanting the very best for his son as he saw it? I thank you.
And now, you, the jury, will go to the jury room to elect a foreman and arrive at a verdict.
Will the court please rise? How did all get out?